Good evening, one and all. We welcome you all to the International Webinar Series on Holistic Health, Well-being and Sustainable Development 2025, commemorating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, nation celebrating 77 years of independence and United Nations Sustainable Development Goals 2015 to 2030 as part of awareness and campaigns in collaboration with Sri Holistic Health Foundation India and Sri Research Institute Center for Arts, Sciences and Well-being. Before we start our sessions, let's take the blessings of Almighty. With the blessings of Almighty, we shall continue with today's sessions and commemorations. Today, we are commemorating World Science Day for Peace and Development, which is celebrated on 10th November every year. The day aims to strengthen public awareness of the role of the science for peaceful and sustainable societies, promote national and international solidarity for shared science between countries, and renew national and international solidarity for shared science between countries, renew national and international commitment for the use of science for the benefit of societies, draw attention to the challenges faced by science in raising support for the scientific endeavor. So celebrated every 10th November, World Science Day for Peace and Development highlights the significant role of science in society and the need to engage wider public in debates on emerging scientific issues. It also underlines the importance and relevance of science in our daily lives. By linking science more closely with society, World Science Day for Peace and Development aims to ensure that citizens are kept informed of developments in sciences. It also underscores the role scientists play in broadening our understanding of the remarkable, fragile planet we call home and in making our societies more sustainable. The day also offers the opportunity to mobilize all actors around the topic of science for peace and development, from government officials to the media to the school pupils. UNESCO strongly encourages all to join celebrating World Science Day for Peace and Development by organizing your own event or activity on this day, like we are doing today. So trust, transformation, and tomorrow, the science we need for 2050, it is a theme for 2025 for World Science Day for Peace and Development. In August 2023, the United Nations General Assembly declared 2024-2033 as the International Decade of Sciences for Sustainable Development, underscoring the essential role of science in tackling the world's most pressing challenges. This initiative recognizes that achieving the ambitions of 2030 Agenda and beyond will require not only advances in knowledge and innovation, but also stronger partnerships between the science and policy and society. Against this backdrop, the 2025 World Science Day will provide a vital platform to consider what kind of science and what kind of relationship between science and society will be essential to meet future challenges, with UNESCO at the forefront of this effort. So, the International Decade of Sciences for Sustainable Development 2024 to 2033 is a global movement to unlock the potential led by UNESCO. It promotes science as a common good, fueling innovation, inclusion, and collaboration across borders. Together, we are building a future that is more just, resilient, and informed for people and the planet alike. When we look at the background of this day, the organization of a focused event related to the commitment of science and society was one of the positive outcomes of 1999 World Conference on Science. In Budapest, it was considered an opportunity to reaffirm each year in the commitment to attaining the goals proclaimed in the Declaration on Science and the Use of Scientific Knowledge, and to follow up the recommendations of the Science Agenda Framework for Action. Since its proclamation by UNESCO in 2001, World Science Day for Peace and Development had generated many concrete projects, programs, and funding for science around the world. The day has also helped foster cooperation between scientists living in regions marked by conflict. One example being the UNESCO-supported creation of the Israeli-Palestine Science Organization, in short known as IPSO. The rationale of celebrating a World Science Day for Peace and Development has its roots in the importance of the role of science and scientists for sustainable societies, and in the need to inform and involve citizens in science. In this sense, a World Science Day for Peace and Development offers an opportunity to show general public and the relevance of science in their lives and to engage them in discussions. Such a venture also brings a unique perspectives to the global search for peace and development. The first World Science Day for Peace and Development was celebrated worldwide on 10th November 2002 under UNESCO's auspices. So the celebration involved many partners such as government, intergovernmental, and non-governmental organizations, UNESCO National Commission, scientific and research institutions, professional associations, the media, science, teachers, and schools. The UNESCO Science Report is one of the tools that countries can use to monitor progress towards the goals of Agenda 2030. Every 5 years, it analyzes emerging trends in science, technology, and innovation policy and governance. The latest edition was published in June 2021. It documented the rapid societal transformation underway, which offers new opportunities for social and economic experimentation, but also risks exacerbating social inequalities unless safeguards are put in place. Artificial intelligence, AI, is driving a new era of science and technological advancement. From robotics and language understanding to predictive analytics and climate modeling, AI enhances research capabilities and accelerates innovation across disciplines. How we can harness AI responsibly to advance knowledge and innovation, discover the opportunities it offers and the challenges it poses. Today is also commemorated as Angola Independence Day on November 11th in Angola, which is celebrated every year in Angola, which is found on the west coast on the African continent. The country achieved independence from the Portuguese after a war that lasted 13 years, which is known as the Angolan War of Independence. The war began when people rose against being forced to grow cotton by the Portuguese leaders and ended up with a coup with the military that overthrew the dictatorship in Angola. This day is a public holiday in Angola and is celebrated with parades, official ceremonies, and other festivities across the country. There were lots of battles and incursions, but Angola was formally taken over by the Portuguese and was later given the status of an overseas dominion of Portugal. When Angola regained the status of dominion, the people began to develop a greater sense of nationalism and began forming groups and parties to ensure that they could protect their interests. War broke out when the Portuguese tried to inflict forced cotton cultivation on the people. The people revolted, leading to an uprising that was eventually suppressed. Then a guerrilla war began, which lasted over 13 years, ending with the leftist army coup of the corporate dictatorship set by the Portuguese. Soon after that, the different parties and political fractions entered an armed conflict with each other, resulting in a civil war which formally ended with the Portuguese government signing the Alvor Agreement with the Angolan party, which gave Angola independence from Portugal. Today is also commemorated as Armistice Day, which is also known as Martinique joins the world in observing Armistice Day every year, November 11, to commemorate the act that led to the end of World War I. Armistice Day or Armistice is also known as in French territories honors the veterans of both world wars who sacrificed their lives to restore world peace. The day's events are usually somber, with people solemnly remembering the fallen in some countries, including France, observing a minute of silence to remember their lives lost. Today is also commemorated as fasting, November 11th. Every year, fasting begins at exactly 11 minutes after 11 a.m. on November 11th and ends on Ash Wednesday. It is a season that takes place in Germany and other German speaking countries. Before Lent, the 40-day fasting period begins. Fasting is also known as Carnival or Fashion, depending on the region in which it is celebrated. The festival has been around for hundreds of years and can be traced all the way back to 13th century. Fasting is observed in different ways in countries such as Brazil and Italy, Switzerland, and Belgium. The height of fasting celebrations is called the Shrove Tuesday or Fat Tuesday. In Germany, the day is celebrated on a small scale, but in other parts of the world, the day is spent spectacularly as people attend and take part in parades in cities such as Venice, Rio de Janeiro, and New Orleans. On Ash Wednesday, the festival comes to an end and the 40-day fasting season begins. Today is also commemorated as Metal Day in the honor of classic metal mockumentary. This is Spinal Tap. The National Metal Day falls on November 11th every year, and metal declares independence from the mundane and conventional, while insanity, alienation, and death are the foundation for gloomy introspection, which is all part of the culture. However, it's not all doom and gloom. In fact, some metal can be even uplifting. Metal has been spread into many different subgenres, that is thrash, death, black, doom, Christian, and of revel. New metal. Some of the biggest names in the music are metal heads like Metallica, Anthrax, Megadeth, Motorhead, and Pantera. Today is also commemorated as Veterans Day in US, observed annually on November 11th is a tribute to military veterans who have served in the US Armed Forces, not to be confused with Memorial Day, which honors those who died in the service. Veterans Day honors all military veterans, including those still with us. The United States Senate Resolution 143, which has passed on August 4, 2001, designated the week of November 11 through November 17, 2001 as National Veterans Awareness Week. The resolution called for educational efforts directed at elementary and secondary school students concerning the contributors and sacrifices of veterans. Today is also commemorated as Singles Day in China on November 11th, which is a Chinese commercial holiday that helps single people show their pride in being single. It started as a paean to being single, where solo students in China, Nanjing University, choose November 11th because 11 by 11 looks like a group of sticks to celebrate rather than lament being partnerless. It's quickly grew into a fun, unofficial holiday which single people across the China treat themselves to be nice dinners and splurge on goods they wouldn't otherwise buy for themselves. So, from those humble roots, Single Day has become the single most lucrative online shopping holiday in the world, with sales reaching $25 billion in 2017, easily surpassing Black Friday and Cyber Monday combined. While the holiday may have gone commercial, the celebrations and the theme are still in line with its founding to celebrate who you are, your friends, and your loved ones, regardless of what your relationship status is. Today is also commemorated as Remembrance Day in Australia on November 11th. The day is dedicated to Australian soldiers who lost their lives in World War One. Onwards, as in the act of solidarity, citizens observe a minute of silence to pay their respects to the deceased who died fighting while protecting the nation, initially known as the Armistice Day. The Australian government adopted the United Kingdom's proposal of renaming the day to Remembrance Day, which is not a public holiday. In a similar way, it is observed in Canada and UK and other Commonwealth nations, which includes 53 member states, nearly all of them former territories of the British Empire. It carries much of the same meaning as America's Veterans Day, celebrated since the end of World War I. Remembrance Day actually marks Armistice Day, the day on which hostilities between the Allies and Germany ceased on the Western Front. Today is also commemorated as Per Day in Philippines. Puerto Princesa Underground River Day, celebrated on November 11th every year, honors one of the Philippines' most popular tourist destinations. The Puerto Princesa Underground River National Park is situated approximately 27 miles northeast of Puerto Princesa with the St. Paul mountain range. It has been designated as the UNESCO's World Heritage Site because it encompasses a mountain to see the ecosystem that contains some of the most notable intact old-grown forests in Asia, as well as the phenomenal limestone cut landscape and globally significant ecosystem for conservation of biodiversity and threatened species of wildlife, among other features. Today is also commemorated as Pocky Day in Japan, which is celebrated annually on November 11th, is an opportunity for fans of Pocky, a delicious, lightly sweet biscuit in a coating of easily snackable flavored icing, to gather show their appreciation for the treat. Pocky is one of the most popular treats in Japan and is even served alongside a glass of water. Pocky is made of a breadstick coated in chocolate and served in boxes. Pocky comes in many unusual flavors such as honey and wiki fruit mango. The men's Pockies is a mature bittersweet version of milk chocolate Pocky. The regional flavors of Pocky include Yubari melon, cove, wine, grape, jade, Mikan powdered tea, Asby bean, and five fusion berry. Other flavors like banana, coffee, lychee, caramel, melon, marble, royal milk tea, dame bar, milk, honey, and milk, cream cheese, berry, sweet potato, coconut crush, corn on the crab, cob, pineapple, pumpkin, kinako, Brazilian pudding, maroon, tomato, cherry, green tea are also available. Pocky was created by Eski Glico in 1999 to celebrate the worldwide sensation. This day is also an excellent time for Pocky lovers to eat as much as Pocky as they want. Today is also commemorated as National Sunday Day, which falls on November 11th. Sweet desserts don't get much more distant than marshmallow, chocolate, or strawberry sundaes, or let enjoy every minute of the day. You can visit a fun local ice cream shop or simply whip up one at home. It's treat either way. Of course, anything ice cream related seems to brighten things up, but this one's especially enjoyable. Today is also commemorated as National Origami Day on November 11th. Practicing this art, originally called orikata, origami originated in Japan as early as 105 AD before Japan's Industrial Revolution in the late 19th century. Only elites had access to the materials necessary for creating such geometric folds. Today, anyone with access to paper and a flat surface is welcome to give it a go. Join to learn more by using a valuable material as mere decoration. Wealthy families could demonstrate their access to such luxuries. As time marched on and paper became more readily available to the masses, origami became a regular feature of familial ceremonies such as weddings and birthdays. Origami finds its simplistic charm by requiring only one tool, the paper itself. In this way, it can feel much like a logic problem or a brain teaser. However, origami's modern cousin, kirigami, allows the use of scissors and glue. Origami is an intrinsically analytical and trigonometry-based activity that requires focused attention and an inclination towards problem solving. And we cannot wait to put our hands to work on some folds of our own. Today is also commemorated as National Indiana Day in US on November 11th every year. Indiana is the 38th largest state and the 17th most populous state in the US of America. And Indianapolis is the capital of Indiana, and the state is home to many industrialists, entertainment professionals, miners, and farmers. National Indiana Day was created to celebrate Indiana's and Hoosiers, a term used to describe the natives of Indiana. It is a day to celebrate their achievements and high spirit. Today is also commemorated as National Education Day in India on November 11th every year to memorialize the birthday of Maulana Abdul Kalam Azad, the first Minister for Education in India, exemplary contributions to field of modern education and institution building paved the way for the country's modern system, but at the same time destroyed the indigenous Indian traditional education system. Reputed as the main architect of education, he served as India's first vice president as well as the first education minister from 1947 to 1958, who colonized the education and who took away the education from value system to mere a learning process. How all educational institutions in the country marked the day with seminars, essay writing workshops, and rallies with slogans on the importance of literacy and India's commitment to education. The purpose of this education is to make a good human beings with skill and expertise. Unfortunately, nowadays, the education is merely more of materialistic, of winning a job or gaining some employment rather than building up personality or values or as a good human beings. Enlightened human beings can be created by teachers to promote education and propel the careers of students. But unfortunately, nowadays the modern educational institutions have completely devoid of this value-based education and have become as a factories for minting money and businesses rather than focusing on value-based, human-based education. They are more focused on materialistic education, which are turning the humans into machines and robots rather than humans. So in September 2008, the India's Ministry of Human Resource Development declared the birthday of the Maulana Abdul Kalam Azad to be a nationally recognized as Education Day. The day is also seen as an occasion to remember Abdul Kalam's contribution in laying the foundations of the education system in an independent India and also evaluating and improving the country's current performance in the field. At the same time, the reforms that also laid the foundations for destruction of indigenous system. After its independence in 1947, India struggled to completely revamp and stabilize its institutions and sectors. Recognizing that education would be crucial for nation building, the leaders of country shifted their focus towards education. In particular, served as a flag bearer of this cause, speaking in 1948 at All India Education. He highlighted the importance of this birthright of every person to receive basic education necessary for their well-being without foregoing their duties as a citizen. But perhaps the largest contribution as the Indian Institutes of Technology. The first IIT was inaugurated in 1951 and truly believe in the potential of establishing IITs for progression of research and technological advancement in India. Today, IITs have created a niche for themselves, whether nationally or internationally. IITs are looked at as epitome of educational excellence. It's hence befitting to honor the memory of the man behind India's educational mind by celebrating his birthday as National Education Day every year. Value education refers to the process of teaching and learning about ideas that guide human behavior such as truth, justice, compassion, respect, and responsibility. In a rapidly changing world marked by the globalization, technological advancements, and social transformation, value education has become an essential part of holistic human development. In contemporary India, where diversity, democracy, and development coexist, value education plays a crucial role in nurturing responsible, ethical, and empathetic citizens. So, value education involves cultivating moral, ethical, spiritual, and civic values among learners, that is, students, scholars. It goes beyond academic knowledge, focusing instead on character formation and social response. The National Policy on Education (NP) 1986 and more recently the National Education Policy (NEP) 2020 have both emphasized the integration of values such as empathy, respect for diversity, and sustainable living into the education process. Value education is very important in contemporary India as it builds character and integrity in the era where corruption, dishonesty, and moral decline often make headlines. Value education is vital to instill integrity, discipline, and honesty in young citizens. It encourages moral reasoning and helps individuals differentiate between right and wrong, promoting social harmony and national integration. India's rich tapestry of cultures, languages, and religion requires mutual respect and understanding. Value education fosters tolerance, respect for diversity, and unity in pluralism, essential for maintaining social harmony and national integration. Encouraging democratic and constitutional values in the world's largest democracy, India's strength lies in the active participation of informed and ethical citizens. Value education encourages respect for the constitutional ideals such as liberty, equality, and fraternity, nurturing responsible and participatory citizenship. Addressing social issues and challenges modern India faces, like gender discrimination, environmental degradation, violence, and inequality. Value education equips individuals and with the ethical awareness to confront these issues and empathy, fairness, and social responsibility, promoting environmental and sustainable values with growing concerns about the climate change and environmental degradation. Value education helps learners internalize sustainability, conversion, conservation, and ecological balance, aligning with India's ancient philosophy of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. The world is one family. Reducing stress and promoting mental well-being in the age of competition and digital world. And overload. Value education encourages mindfulness, peace, and emotional intelligence. It helps students manage stress and cultivate positive mental health through self awareness and inner balance. The National Education Policy 2020 underscores the integration of value based education at all levels, emphasizing ethics, empathy, respect for others, cleanliness, civic responsibility, and the spirit of service. It recommends experimental learning, community engagement, and inclusion of Indian knowledge system, IKS, to cultivate human values. Schools, colleges, and universities serve as a powerful instruments in shaping the moral and ethical framework of the youth. Co-curricular activities, community service, yoga, meditation, and discussions on Moral dilemmas are effective means of imparting values in educational settings. While schools can teach values, their real life applications begin at home. Parents, elders, and community members serve as role models. A value based society promotes empathy, cooperation, and moral accountability in every sphere of life. There are certain challenges in implementation, like lack of trained teachers in moral and ethical education, overemphasis on the rote learning and examination systems, influence of materialism and consumerism, weak integration between traditional and modern value systems. So, value education is not a separate subject, but a way of life. It's contemporary in India. It is indispensable in shaping citizens who are intellectually competent, morally upright, socially responsible, and environmentally conscious. To achieve holistic national development and global peace, India must ensure that education not only imparts knowledge but also nurtures values that sustain society. So, key values to be emphasized in different categories like moral values, honesty, integrity, responsibility, and so on. Social values, tolerance, empathy, respect for diversity, and so on. Spiritual values, peace, harmony, self realization, and so on. Civic values like patriotism, respect for law, public service, and maintaining dignity of self and others, keeping surroundings clean. Environmental values include sustainability, conservation, love for the nature, and so on. So we request everyone to quickly fill up the feedback form, which has been raised in the form of polls before leaving the platform. So see you all tomorrow at the same time with the same joining link for different commemorations and celebrations. And on 21st November, on 22nd November, we are organizing Pure Earth Conference, which is organized biannually, yearly twice. So this month, on 22nd, that is Saturday, we are going to organize a conference based on environment with the theme wetland ecosystems. So we request everyone, those who are interested, anyone can participate. Basically, it's a student conference, so students are encouraged to come forward for their presentations. Only students will be allowed for presentations, and rest of all, anyone can participate and get your participation certificates. So the registration form has been circulated in social media platforms handles. We request everyone to register, and especially students. It's your conference, though anyone can participate. So utilize this wonderful opportunity. And the presentations and the write-up shall be published in an ISBN book. So use this opportunity. And best of all is there is no registration fees, and either for presentation or publication. So kindly spread this word to your counterparts and inform all your friends to register yourself, you can visit our website or even in WhatsApp groups and Facebook and other social media platforms. We have put the details so you can check out and register yourself and share this information to your contacts so that they can also get the benefit. So see you all tomorrow at the same time, with the same joining. Take care. Good night.